The best marketers are using these tips to increase the amount of sales they convert online. Now, advertising is massively important to drive more sales. However, if you are driving traffic to your website and it's not converting, then you need to figure out why that is. And so understanding and optimizing your website based on psychology is going to have a massive impact on the amount of people you convert. So before we get started, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel if you want more marketing, CRO and copywriting related content. I also talk about Facebook ads and basically everything in the e-commerce space. So make sure you don't miss out. So the first tip is to use single option aversion to your advantage. So single option aversion is the idea that we prefer to have multiple options rather than being confined to just one option. For example, if you're shopping for a certain pair of shoes and you walk into the shop and there is only one pair of shoes, it might be the exact pair that you were looking for, but because you don't see other options, you're going to feel a bit uneasy because you have nothing to compare it to. And how you can use this to convert more visitors is by adding multiple payment options. For example, instead of having just card payments, you should add PayPal or Apple Pay. Make sure people have enough options to choose from, and that way they're going to be able to find what works best for them. But don't go over the top with this, because people also get decision paralysis if there's too many options. Make sure there's just the right amount for people to feel comfortable in making a decision. Next is the Zeigarnik effect. And what this means is basically that we feel uncomfortable. There's a bit of discomfort if we don't complete something. It's always going to be in the back of our mind if we haven't completed something. And how you can use this in your marketing is basically in your checkout process. Now, all of the tips in this video you can extrapolate and use in different areas, but I'm just going to give you some simple tips and ways that you can use it straight away. So to use the Zeigarnik effect, what you can do is add a progress bar in your checkout. So it might just be 3 steps, for example, and each step that they complete, the progress bar continues along and it shows them at the end that they've completed something. Now, this does 2 things. For one, if they're in the middle of it, they're going to be more likely to complete the checkout process because it's something that's incomplete, and you're giving them a very visual and real example of how they haven't completed something. So if they're to walk away, or if they're to click away, they're going to feel a sense of discomfort and incompletion. Whereas once they do complete the purchase and they've completed the checkout process, they're going to feel a lot more satisfied with their purchase. The next psychological principle that you can use to your advantage is cognitive friction. Now, what is cognitive friction? It basically describes the mental effort that it takes to complete a task or make a decision. And you want to reduce cognitive friction as much as you can, because the more friction that there is, the less likely somebody is to make a purchase. So cognitive friction can describe many different things. For example, if you have confusingly written copy, that can cause cognitive friction because people don't want to try too hard to understand what they're reading. The same way it can be copywriting on your landing page, or if your page is set up in a way that's confusing to use, you're going to cause a lot of mental friction, which is going to decrease the chances of people converting. But one of the ways that you can use it in your checkout process, for example, is by reducing the amount of fields that somebody has to fill out. So instead of using first name and last name, you should use full name. And this way it's going to make it a lot easier for somebody to fill that out. Also, when certain input fields are required, such as a phone number or a date of birth, you want to use the appropriate way of inputting those fields. So if you're required to put in a phone number, then on the person's mobile, it should come up with the keypad. That way it's a lot easier to type in their phone number instead of just having the regular keyboard where the numbers are at the top. Or if it's a date of birth input field that you want somebody to complete, then use drop-down boxes. So the drop-down box would have the dates, the months and the years. And that way it's going to make it very simple because someone doesn't have to think about typing out their date of birth. All they have to do is just scroll down the list and tap the one that is suited to them. So in conclusion, you can use single option aversion, which is basically the fact that people want more than one option so they feel more comfortable in their decision. You can use the Zeigarnik effect, which is the fact that people feel uncomfortable when they haven't completed something, and when they do complete something, they're going to feel more satisfied. And lastly, you can use cognitive friction to your advantage by reducing it and making it very easy and simple for people to complete a task, such as checking out and buying your product. So if you've got any value out of this video, make sure you do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more related content. I'll see you at the next video.